shoot, somebody's gonna fall through.
Well, we're live.
We are live. What is up, everybody? Thank you for being here. Uh, it is Wednesday. It seems like it's Friday. I've had a long week already. Dustin, how you
Yeah.
doing?
Yep. It's been a long week, getting a lot done. Yeah, just grinding through this pandemic. We were just talking about this earlier. It feels like nothing has changed. I think we've been uh, reclusive for 2 years now, just kind of doing our own quarantining, just working on stuff. So,
Hey, you already know, man. You already know. Well, I think that the cubicle lights have left for the office, or they still don't know we are out there. So, this is the non-corporate network. So, if you are with us, then welcome to our movement around hustlers, entrepreneurs, small business owners, people making it happen, making their dreams come true. But this is fill in the blank. And we are here to talk about what's hot in business right now, the six biggest headlines in business. The way this goes is that we, myself and Dustin, will debate topics for 3 minutes, and we'll give you all the information you need to know so you can go out there and crush it and have an idea about what the new trends are, how you can ride the wave. Yeah, we're stoked to be here. But yeah, that's what I got to say.
yeah, got some exciting news. This is only episode 6, and we already have a sponsor. And so this
Mm.
episode is brought to you by Advantage, and they have something interesting. They have a platform where businesses can barter and trade their services. For example, we're a marketing agency. If we need accounting help and there's an accountant that needs marketing, we simply just trade our excess capacity, and it just helps on the financial side. I think most businesses have like
Advantage,
15% of unfilled time or labor, and so most people do have some excess capacity.
especially
Especially right
now.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No,
Vantage, thank you. You guys should go check them out. Advantage.com. Can list your services and yeah, start bartering and trading. Right now is the ideal time to make it happen.
hey, and I learned the hard way. They got just about everything you can think of on this thing. From accounting, like Dustin mentioned, to recreational stuff too. I think that I was taking my girlfriend to go horseback riding, and I didn't use a montage, and then I found out it would have been free on a montage. It's like you're saving money no matter what it is you're doing. So yeah, think local, help the small guys out, especially now. A lot of cool services that can be done remote that are on there. So, but again, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Avantage, for being in our corner here. We're stoked to bring your word to the people. But yeah, with that, again, this is NCN. This is fill in the blank. Let's just dive right in. You down?
Yep, let's
All
dive right
right.
in. So,
Good.
NBC Universal, they are upping their game and trying to make shoppable content on TV and movies. So, essentially, you could just be sitting back, relaxing, watching a TV show. If you like the couch that the actor is sitting on, or the suit that they're wearing, or the coffee mug that they're drinking from, you could essentially buy right from the TV show. It's a way to try and help revenue streams as TV revenue is going down with no sports going on right now. It's a way to kind of bolster the revenue on that side, and it's pretty interesting. What are your thoughts on the whole shoppable TV content?
I mean, dude, there's some cult fans out there, so I wouldn't be surprised if people are buying suits of armor and all sorts of crazy stuff that's on TV. And I mean, especially now with like, I mean, Netflix putting out a new show every 5 minutes, and NBC I know is trying to follow suit, and so could be a way to capture a little bit more revenue, also capitalize on the new shows coming out. I'm wondering if that like covers the bill for the costumes. They like, what if they did like an auction? Because I know they're doing I know they're doing e-commerce type of thing where it's like maybe they have like scarcity of units. Because I think that's going to even drive up the price more. Is like compared to having like a Bazinga shirt type of thing. Like if they had like, okay, there's the two suits from Iron Man when he what like if they're auctioning off that type of stuff like that would be some serious money. I feel like that would be coming in off of those things.
Yeah, I mean, it creates a whole type of new landscape for shopping and commerce in general. I
Right.
mean, one thing that I'd be interested in, you're always for the people and protecting data and all that. I mean, do you think that this is going to take advantage of people's buying
That is
patterns? And
that is a good point. I don't know who's plugged into the NBC API or if they're trying to get into the ad game. Any type of platform like this usually ends up with advertising, and even if they can capture more attention in another way, like I would be mindful because yeah, the TV shows that you watch and the things that you go crazy over that you're willing to spend money on. That is a huge piece of intel for a business to be able to use that to target you. You buy the superhero suit from the Flash, then now all I got to do as the CEO is put a Flash background up when I advertise to you, and all of a sudden now you're dialed in. I think the other cool thing here too is that most people have this habit or this disease of like, I'm going to turn the TV on and I'm going to stare at my phone the whole time. And so it's like, if they can give people another medium of consuming them and their content or their e-commerce products, like while they're watching TV, and almost double dip and go, oh, watch this show when you're looking on the e-commerce side, or oh, go check out this product on the app when you're watching the show. Like, I think that'd be interesting.
yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you'll be able to do as a marketer if that data becomes available. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
purchase data
it's, yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
extremely useful. But that's our time on that
Okay.
section. So hopping on to the next one, TikTok. I mean, it just keeps coming up all the time in news headlines. Everyone's talking about it. Users have grown by 50% since January. People are
That's
spending over 450 minutes a month. That's over 8 hours a month just on TikTok. One of the fastest growing segments is actually, I think it's 13 to 35 year olds. And so, excuse me, a couple things there. I mean, there is an older demographic that is growing. I mean, it's, to me, follow the attention. Brands just need to figure out how to do more there. But what are your thoughts on just the overall usage of TikTok and the overall direction of where they're headed?
Well, I think it's interesting. They've gotten further than Vine got. I think this is about the point where Vine just blew up and didn't work anymore, and they kind of went to the wind. So I think that they've got to a point that's pretty serious. But a couple of things that hold me back from being able to be super bullish on this. One being the Chinese tech company Tencent owns most of TikTok, and that means they own most of the data. TikTok's already been banned for anybody that works for the government in the US. You're not allowed to use TikTok because China is owning all of that data. And it goes further than just being on the app. Having the app downloaded on your phone, they're able to track location. They're able to track all sorts of things. So even like they're talking about how like army generals, if they had it, that they could give away their position
Wow.
based off of like the TikTok data. So I think that's one thing that I look at and go, I don't know if I feel great about this. The other thing is the advertising console is very amateur compared to the other platforms. Obviously, they're new kid on the block, and I know they're pouring money into it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like the Pinterest advertising console where there's not a whole lot you can do. You have to have a big budget to really see results, and it's more of a billboard type of advertisement than it is an interactive kind of push you through the funnel type of advertisement. So I think that those are two places they're lacking in.
Yeah, so do you think brands should just hold off and there might be an American competitor that comes? I mean, we talked a couple
Or the
episodes
hold
about
off.
YouTube creating something similar. And so I think
Yeah,
if that takes off, that would be huge. But I think even if brands aren't executing on the platform, is maybe start thinking through strategy because. I mean, the user growth
content.
is growing. I mean, there's tons of revenue opportunity there. So it's only a matter of time before an American company comes out and just kind of
Yeah,
replicates and does it a bit better. And to your point, I
right.
think from a safety perspective of the United States and everything like that, it makes sense to kind of maybe hold off there. But having a
Yeah.
game plan, I think, would be huge.
Well, I mean, eyeballs are going there. Make content. Like, honestly, it's hard to say no, especially if you're a brand and not super concerned about if TikTok knows where you are. Like, okay, I'm at my office. So it's like, I think, it's hard to not make content there because it is popping off, like you mentioned.
Cool. Our time is
So,
up.
yep, time on that one. Okay. Next up, we've got the nostalgia economy is keeping high school prom alive. So obviously, with everything that's going on, a lot less in-person events. Prom is one of those things that is not happening, and I'm bummed because I loved that whole scene growing up, but. It's a $4 billion industry. I did not know
It's
prom was a
insane.
$4 billion industry. So there's a lot of different things happening, celebrities getting involved, Zoom getting involved, trying to figure out ways to recreate prom and these types of gatherings. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on the viability of trying to recreate prom via live stream, or really any of these events via live stream. I'm just not convinced that it's going to have the same effect.
Yeah, I mean, it might not have the same effect, but it's definitely a growing trend. I mean, we've talked just how live streaming video and all that is just growing. I mean, I think it was the California company that's doing the private voice only chat groups. It's just a growing trend. What'll be interesting to see is how, if it keeps growing whenever everything
Right.
gets back to the new norm, things open up. I think people are really seeing how practical and how efficient it is to do this. And
Right.
even though it doesn't have the same human element touch, you can get more people involved. And I think people are just adopting to the new digital transformation and being able to communicate over the internet, over video conferencing, phones, whatever it may be. I'm excited to see where it goes. I mean, do you think
Yep.
what do you think how this is going to impact live events?
Well, I think that the key thing to think about here is, and it goes back to the prom, people are spending an average of $919 on prom and $347 on promposals. And so, where does that money go? Especially when the parents are like, oh, now my kid didn't get to have prom. I feel bad. I have this money we were going to spend. There's money in their pockets to be spent somewhere. Where's that money going? But I think that, you can compare that to any of these things where, okay, I was going to spend $2,000 to go to this conference on airfare and all of this stuff. Where's that money going now? So there's ways to capitalize there. And I think that people are conditioned more into this whole virtual type of deal. But, I think that we're going to ride a big wave of live events once everything starts to normalize a little bit, because people want to get back out. But, I'm also wondering, do you think live streaming or VR is going to be a bigger play right now for live events? Because I think VR is a really lot deeper experience, but live streaming is, it's live, it's cool, you feel like you're there too. So, what are your thoughts on the difference between those two as it comes to live events?
Yeah, I mean, VR, I think this whole thing has expedited it. I mean, I've been having more conversations around, hey,
Absolutely.
everyone can have courtside seat tickets by having a headset on, but I don't think we're there just yet. I think the live streaming is going to explode. We've been trying to do it. I mean, what we're doing this on
Right here,
brought it
baby.
up to different events, and it's like, I mean, you could have 20,000 more people, charge a little bit less, and you can kind of scale and grow the events a bit more than the in person. I think it's having
Yeah.
both. I think that'll win.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Distribution across the board. It's a way to bolster it to your strategy. I know we're on
Exactly.
time on that one, but okay. So getting into the next story, the Thin Mints bailout. The government has decided to bail out Girl Scouts of America. They're sitting on 144,000 boxes of inventory, and I thought they had more than 20 employees. They only have 20 full-time employees, but following suit as many of the other businesses, they've received their coronavirus relief package. I thought this was interesting. You don't see a lot of stories about companies like this. I know the Boy Scouts are struggling too. So, I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you know a whole lot about this, or what do you think about how they could innovate or do a better job of getting rid of product right now?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the PPP stuff, I mean, I thought pretty much everyone is a volunteer, so I think that's how they navigated the
Oh,
20
true.
or the
Yeah.
employee side of things. But I
Yeah.
mean, it'd be interesting to see how they actually use that money. And to your point, if they're sitting on a ton of inventory, maybe they teach the girls how to be innovative with creating websites and how to get e-commerce going. I mean, a huge skill set that's going to be a growing commodity here as we move forward, especially as we're talking more virtual stuff. So, I mean, the law was written the way it was. They took advantage of it. I mean, I don't know how much money they got, Um, I'm more interested to see how they use it. If they do it to help educate and teach valuable skill sets
Right.
that are going to be practical as we move forward, I think that's a good way to use the money. I mean, what do you think that they should keep the money, give it back, and follow suit of what other people are doing, or?
I mean, I think that they should. I mean, they talk about in the story they're going to give scholarships for something for like 3,500 girls, and then there's 20 employees that need to get paid. And so, like, I'm not as concerned with that as I am about, we're talking about getting creative. And, if you're just sitting around waiting to get bailed out, you're not doing it the right way. People love Girl Scout cookies. People love supporting a good cause. And a lot of people have been involved in that organization that are now adults. And so I was looking at it, and at 144,000 boxes, if they paid 675, so $5 plus shipping on like each thing, or just raise the price to 675,
Yep.
they'd be making $1 million off of that. And it's like I feel like people would buy Girl Scout cookies right now. Like I feel like sitting on the couch and watching Netflix and eating Girl Scout cookies at this point in my life. So, I'm down to do that too. So like, how do you distribute it? I think that they need to put more emphasis on, get a marketing person in there. One of those 20 people better be a marketing and e-commerce wizard.
Absolutely. I mean, this is
Yeah.
on the non-corporate network. I mean, teaching that entrepreneurship, I think, would go a long way. I mean, especially as entrepreneurship just grows in popularity and more people are doing it, and the ability to be able to do it is just easier. And I think, yeah, having them create some type of e-com situation, I think, would just instill so many valuable skills.
No, I mean, it's that both that organization and Boy Scouts are about problem solving. How do you problem solve? And this is the biggest problem to be solved: how to keep your organization alive. So solve that problem.
Exactly.
All right, we got what? One more story?
We got two more. Two
Oh, we got
more.
two more. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so next up, we came across a story of how the medical industry is using Amazon Echoes to actually use voice interaction remotely so that patients can speak with their doctors. They've tried this inside the hospital. They tried this with remote patients, and it seems to be working. It's almost like having a call button next to the side of your night table at your house, where you can just say, hey, I need to talk to the doctor. It's like a life alert type of deal almost. So it's like, I personally, I think it's innovative. I think that why not? But the problem is that now you've got to, I used to think medical records were secure,
HIPAA.
and yeah, they should be. And so now if I've got Amazon listening to my medical records and then serving me ads based on what the doctor told me, like, I think that we're crossing a line there. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that.
Yep, I hear you. I mean, I love the idea. It's making just the overall hospital area more efficient. I mean, if you don't have to go, listen to what they say, go back, get what they need. I mean, you're able to help and serve more people. So I
Yeah.
think the idea is awesome. I think that whatever happened to helping the little guy? I mean, why go to Amazon? Why not find a voice company that's up and coming that might be HIPAA compliant or have a bit more security with their data and not sharing
Yeah.
more of that medical information with Amazon? I mean, Amazon has a lot of our purchase data. They have so much data on us, so why keep giving them more? I think voice is a huge opportunity moving forward. It's just more efficient overall. So I think, like I said, it's a great idea. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of thinking through how we navigate moving forward, though.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, this is just kind of my cry for help that no one will answer. But I always hear the same thing where it's like, oh, well, your phone's collecting all of your data already, so who cares? And it's like, well, that shouldn't be the argument to say, okay, it's justified for Amazon to have our medical records. Then you're right. Like, we already have a phone. So it's like something's got to change here. And I mean, I know that there's been these privacy laws, stuff in California happening, but I think that we really got to wisen up here. I mean, this is the most valuable resource on the planet is data. It's monetized. That's how businesses make money. And so, I think that we got to step up and realize as a country that we got to protect the consumer here a little bit. It's not necessarily just about, oh, like, they're like, I don't have to pay for the internet and this is my way of getting it for free. Like there's also the fact that money is being made that is off of you without you having the opportunity to make that money yourself. So it's kind of my red flag, I guess.
Yep. No, I hear you there. It'll be interesting. I mean, more hospitals are probably going to follow suit, and if they keep going with Amazon, right now might be a good time to invest in Amazon. Even more so now, they're just be moving a ton of product across the country if more hospitals are buying this. So,
Yep. Yep.
on to our last and final topic. So, YouTube is coming out with a fact checking service. Essentially, all YouTube videos that get posted, there's going to be some sort of fact checking. Ever since the pandemic started, there's been about a 75% increase in news-related content. I mean, we've all heard the articles of Russia running ads on Facebook to sway an election. I mean, there's a lot of these platforms that are being used to sway what people believe in, and so it's going to be interesting. I mean, how are they the ones fact checking? I mean, what are your thoughts on having the fact checking in real time on
Yeah.
YouTube videos?
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do differently than Facebook. Facebook's kind of created this democracy of using natural language processing to find content that might be defamatory or risque in some way, and queuing up that content for actual people to then go and just click through. Their job is literally to say, it's like Tinder of, is this something that should be allowed on Facebook or not? Yes or no. And like, so they actually have a human element to it. But obviously they're still trying to figure it out too. So I wonder what the difference that YouTube might do. You can't watch a 5-minute videos at scale, but you can't necessarily put an AI on watching that video. So maybe the transcripts we can use some natural language processing through the transcripts to find at-risk words that maybe would say, hey, this is a risky type of story. But I mean, I think there's going to be gaps either way. Stuff's going to fall through the cracks.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think that somebody's got to do something right, and whether it's Facebook or YouTube, like set the precedent for the rest of these companies.
I mean, I wonder if there's a group that fact checks the fact checkers. And what's interesting is, do they then suppress that news? Like, I mean, it then becomes more of an issue. Like, does it get rid of the First Amendment in terms of being able to have
Right.
be able to say what you want? So, I mean, if they're the ones that are determining what's a fact and what's not, and then suppressing stuff, I mean, that might cause some
Public or
stuff there.
Yeah, are you the platform or the media provider? And these businesses have all ridden the coattails of like, okay, there's a gray area, so we can be both. So we're the platform, so we don't have to regulate it, but we're also the media, so we kind of regulate it. And like to your point, if you're suppressing your First Amendment, but I know Facebook is called for an outside governing body that is not affiliated with Facebook to be that fact checking entity. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg has the power to pretty much say yes or no to everything, and he's hiring the people that are doing the fact checking and whatever. Like, so it's still back to him. So I'd like to see something ancillary from either of these organizations that is in charge of this, and could be a new industry if you can come up with a way to, siphon this content at scale.
Yep. No, and I think that does it. It'll be interesting to see how that evolves content moving forward, what's allowed to be said, what's not allowed to be
Right.
said, and kind of put handcuffs on creators maybe. But at the end
Right.
of the day, just tell the truth and you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you guys for tuning in with us today. Again, you're watching the Non-Corporate Network. This is Fill in the Blank. My name is Chaz Vandemotter.
Dustin Trout, Sean
We
from
appreciate
Avantage,
you.
thank you so much for sponsoring this episode.
Yeah, go check out Avantage.com. They're doing a killer job. And yeah, with that, hopefully you got some fuel for your day. Go crush it. And we'll see you on Friday.
Go rise and grind. Talk to you later.